I could tell that Ian was truly bothered by what I said to him and the truth that I was put out there, because I'm very straightforward. I'm not a beat around the bush person. I'm not trying to intentionally hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm going to express myself openly and honestly. Then I begin to question more and more of why am I do what I do.
Oh, so yes. Right. What does that mean? What do you mean what you do? Say that.
Why do I stay in this marriage if things stay the same?
I thought that's what.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be nice about it.
No, don't be nice about it. Just say.
No, but what? Okay, so I'll close it up when you. I guess I don't know if I'm ever going to get what I need from you.
I don't know what you want. I just told you what I would do. What do you want me to say? I don't understand.
I want you to be to recognize the areas where you need to step up.
I just told you that. I just told you what I have to do.
You just said you're going to do more.
People don't figure out themselves till later on in life. Okay. And I think that's what I'm kind of figuring. I know who I am. I don't have the time and the space with all the kids and everything to work it out now. So that's why I'm having conflict.
Hey guys, if it's crazy. All right, go now.
Welcome to the Family Mess. I'm Noah, and have a nice day. Good God.
I love the Family Mess.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the Family Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ian, and this is my wife and co-host, Natalie. The Family Mess, the podcast about life with kids and all things adulting. Let's talk. Natalie, Sunday afternoon, podcast recording. It's due Tuesday. Why do we let this happen?
We're busy people.
The last second, and Kennedy's going to kill us because she's going to have to work extra hard to get all the advertisements done and everything done. So, but that's part of the job, I guess. But actually, it's we can't keep doing this to her because it's going to put a lot of stress on her.
Yes, we should get a better plan.
And what do you mean better plan? She's already given us the plan. We have to follow it.
Okay, There's no plan. We need to follow the plan.
No, you need to follow the plan. I've already been waiting to follow the plan. She said, do a video every week to tell them what you're going to talk about. Give it to her so she can post.
I forget about that part.
I'm telling you.
There's so much that goes on with this kind of stuff.
No, there's not. She laid it out, and I even told you, I'm like, Natalie, we got to do a video.
So why don't you do a video by yourself? Do you have to do it with me?
Kennedy specifically said the video needs to have me and you in there.
But did you remind me?
I always remind you, but your head's turned the other direction all the time.
I don't know.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the show today. Before we get into the show, Natalie wants to talk about her 5 minutes of pound. I need to get some music to
I don't want to talk about no 5 minutes of pounds. Because right now,
it's part of the show. So.
I am feeling defeated.
Why?
Ian had the nerve to come and tell me about one of our friends who's lost 15 pounds.
I didn't mean to, and the friend is listening right now. I'm sorry. I apologize. I knew Natalie.
But that's a good thing for her, though. That's a great thing.
Oh, well,
yes, for her, I'm happy for her to lose her weight. But for me, I'm like, oh, come on. Everybody losing weight. My friend's son's mom lost weight. She's looking great. You know, when you lose weight, you don't realize how your face got a little fullness to it. And when you lose weight, your face gets kind of more thinner. So I just saw her today and I was like, dang, she's looking good. And I'm here with my fat face. I'm just like, oh, God.
You got to get some confidence in yourself, man.
But you know what I thought about last time after we talked about it? I was like, look, Oprah is a multi-millionaire, billionaire, how many times?
Hell no.
And she got weight problems. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
If Oprah, who has built a media empire, had her show, books.
Oprah is more successful being a fat woman than a smaller woman because she's real. She's a real person.
That's right. And I just realized, I'm real and I struggle with my weight just like Oprah. So I was like, I thought about it to myself. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try. But I realized if Oprah has this struggle and she's been able to still accomplish so much with this struggle, that there are things out there for me, even amongst this.
Natalie, it's not, you can accomplish everything right now with your weight.
I know, but I'm just saying this. But for me, the reason I have not been able to conquer the weight is because I don't have consistent discipline when it comes to exercising.
Preach it.
But I realized, because I felt like, if I can't consistently discipline myself to do weight, how can I manage all these other things that I'm trying to do in my life? But then I thought about Oprah, and it made me think, if Oprah can have a weight problem and still be one of the most powerful women in media. I mean, she came from nothing.
Yeah.
And she built herself up from zero, right?
Yeah, that life was tough.
And even when she had access to a personal chef, she had, all of these things, she still had a weight problem.
Yeah.
So I realized I have to put that things in perspective. I do have changes that I need to make, But I also have to realize that if one of the most successful women out there has a weight problem with everything afforded to her, that my weight problem is it's not the best thing to have because it bothers me. If I was okay with it, then fine. It does bother me. It does bother me.
That's and I really don't think there's a weight problem per se. I think it's society's view of weight in this country.
This is my own. I don't care about nobody else. I personally don't feel good in my body.
But I'm telling you why. It has nothing. It does have something to do with you, obviously. But it's what society views as beauty in this part of the world. Because if you go to like Africa and India and some parts of the world, the bigger you are as a woman, the more attractive you are. Especially in parts of Africa. Like if you're a big woman, if you're a skinny woman, you get no men. And it's hard for you to get married and find a spouse. But the plumper you are, is that a... fatter?
Thick?
Yeah, I like that better. Yeah. So the thicker you are, your chances go up of finding a husband, because it's beauty. That's what they consider beauty in those parts of the world. But in the Western part of the world, we consider beauty thinner, smaller, and it's it's subjective.
Yes,
it really is. Subjective.
Yes, beauty is something that's always subjective. But for me, I know I personally don't feel good. Like my knees hurt when I get up. Well, I'm used to being able to just get up and move, and I'm it's like a squeaky wheel,
It sounds like it's more of a health for you. It's a health in the body and a physical thing. More of a, you want to look a certain way, but for you, it's more of my knees hurt. I can't do what I used to do physically.
Yeah, like I don't like feel like I'm dragging. Like I don't like that. So I definitely, but I had to kind of put it in perspective though after I thought about Oprah and what she does, and and I am jealous. I'm happy for all my friends, out there, who you are, who've lost weight, but I'm at the same time, I'm still a little bitter, but I'm the cause of my own problems.
Bitter, bitter.
But I'm working on it. Say. I'm getting back since our refrigerator is now, I guess, fixed, because we went with we had a mini fridge, a college dorm fridge for 3 weeks, and Ian didn't cook during that time, and very minimal. We just ate out like every day, so it wasn't very good for my health, but I'm getting better.
Okay.
But thank you for my time.
Let's get into the show. Well, we're going to go ahead and continue the show from last podcast where Natalie and I spoke about our mission.
Ian conceded in the last podcast, and then he shut down because he had an emotional breakdown. What I said.
I don't know if I had an emotional breakdown. I was hurt. I don't know. I was hurt. Yeah,
that's a better word to put it. Yes. Ian,
you know what?
Ian was extremely hurt.
You know what? An emotional breakdown is a good way of putting it. And Natalie just said something, and I'm not gonna lie, man. She said it, and I was up all night thinking about it. I couldn't even sleep.
Really?
I was up the entire night.
What? I knew you were hurt, but I didn't know you were that hurt.
My soul was hurt with what you said. But
Dang.
but
wait, well, hold on. Let's recap though before we in case anyone's just tuning in for the first time.
Yes. Let's recap and explain the situation. Yeah, go ahead and explain.
So one day I told Ian that he I wouldn't want anything to happen to me because I don't think he could take care of the kids as well as I do if something were to happen to me. He said yes he could, so I went on strike, and Ian had to basically do everything that I do, which is cook, clean, grocery shop, pay the bills, you name it, I do it. He had to try to take on all the extra household things. He took all of those on, and it was supposed to be through January, and Ian quit 2 weeks early, or actually a month early. He basically quit before a month, and he conceded. He said, "This is too much for me. I don't want to do this anymore."
I quit.
And so we had our last episode was where he actually did concede and say, I can't do this anymore. And then now today we are here because during our conversation last week, I could tell that Ian was truly bothered by what I said to him and the truth that I was put out there, because I'm very straightforward. I'm not a beat around the bush person. I'm not trying to intentionally hurt anyone's feelings, but I'm going to express myself openly and honestly. And I think what I said to Ian openly and honestly in the last episode hit a nerve. And I could tell, and I tried to, do a little verbal massage and bring it back and help him to feel better. But I guess that didn't quite work. So he was hurt, and he kind of shut down during the episode last week.
I don't remember shutting down.
Oh, go back and listen. You shut down.
I think, but when you go back and listen, it almost has like a brick wall.
You were not willing to move past anything.
Like, I'm done.
Yeah, I already know. I could tell. So we're going to talk today. He said he's willing and okay to talk about more about his feelings that he wasn't able to express last time.
Men should never have to talk about their feelings. I don't know why I agreed to this. This is This is ridiculous. But
I think it'll bring us some closure because I felt like we did not close out.
I thought we
anything.
did.
No, it just was more.
Did close it out.
No, because you wouldn't answer anything. You just wouldn't.
I did answer anything. You just didn't like the answers that I gave.
You didn't want to answer. No.
Didn't like the answers I gave.
So, all right. So, Ian, tell us about how you're feeling now. What happened? What happened last episode?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. You said some things and it hurt me, but it was true. They were true things that you said. You didn't need me. You said, I don't need you. I mean, how do you say? I don't need you. I can still make it without you. I don't need you, but we're here. And I'm like, damn.
But I said, I want you in my life. I did say that.
But not needing someone, it still hurts. You don't need me. Damn. But you want me. See, you want me. That means there's a choice. You see what I'm saying? There's a choice there. So it's like, damn.
No, it's not compulsion.
What it comes
I'm not afraid.
Yeah. What it comes down is you're not really, which is a good thing. When I sat back and think about it, you're really not dependent on me for anything, which is, I wish more people were like that for their spouses. Like, if anything were to happen to that spouse, you can still move on with life. You're not dependent on them. Whether it's love or whatever else, you're not dependent on them. That hurt me, man. I was up all night. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was up from the time you said I was mad as hell. I wasn't mad at you, obviously, but I was mad, but I couldn't sleep. I was up, my eyes wide open, and it kept running. Your stupid ass words kept running in my head.
But what bothered you the most?
It's what you said. Like you didn't need me.
What about it bothered you?
No, just that you saying it meant I was alone. Like I felt alone, and I was like, damn, she don't need me. Like, but I then started thinking back how I kind of abandoned you the last couple of years with the kids, and I was like, you know what? I deserve it because I kind of left you in that same situation for years, and then I gained a different perspective after that, and I realized, you know what? I didn't treat you very good in the for a long time, really bad. So I said, you know what? It's only fair that she says that, and it's true. I mean, the truth hurts, but I think people have to listen to the truth, really listen to it, and not get mad. And if you do get mad, just kind of sit back and reflect to see what like you did in the relationship, because it takes two in the relationship for anything to happen, whether it's to argue, plan for divorce or whatever kind of decisions you make as a couple. It's not just one-sided unless you cheated or something. But even if a person cheats, there's a reason why they cheat. Just don't cheat unless they're just a bad person. That happens.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes too. But so that's the conclusion I came up with after last time.
So, I mean, like I said, I really had no idea that I bothered you. I knew it bothered you.
Oh, when I was looking at you sleeping, I was like, I hate you. You're just sleeping, snoring, and I'm like, hey, how can she sleep?
Hey, that's like the time I threw water on you.
Yes, that's the same time when you threw water on my face. I was like, I'm looking at her, I'm like, how can she sleep? And you were sleeping good too. You were snoring. I'm like,
oh, that means I was tired because I only snore when I'm super tired.
How can she sleep and snore? And I had to go to work the next day. And I remember getting up in the morning, and I think I woke up and I was like, Natalie, I'm not going to leave you. I don't know why you want me by myself. I said something like that, and you answered me and went back to sleep. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I guess I'm afraid of being alone, but the reality is if it happens, it happens. I can't let your words, affect me to the point where I don't do anything. I just have to take it as is and just tell you, hey, you're right. I messed up. The words hurt, but they had to be said. That's the way it is. They have to be said. I can't sit back and be a child in an adult relationship. I have to, hear and be able to kind of process the information that you said and then make a decision from there. So I'm past the mad stage and grieving stage. What's the next stage?
I don't know. That's not death, Dan. It's not the 7 steps of or 5 steps of grieving.
It should be 5 steps of whatever the hell you just told me. 5 steps of denial. I don't know what it was.
Well, but this kind of, to me, goes back to why communication is so important, right? So me being able to verbalize to you how I felt and what I wanted from you, and then you realizing like, oh snap, like that's not what I've done. That's not, but if I wasn't able to verbalize, like that's why communication is so important. Like it's like the number one thing.
Why do we always mention that on the show? Do people communicate with each other?
No,
in relationships?
Don't. People in life and in relationships don't communicate with each other.
But I think that's a very important thing. I was talking to a coworker last week about that, and I think a lot of things get lost in communications or lack of communication. People will assume things without really getting the facts and go on that, and sometimes they react for something that wasn't necessarily true or intentional or and I think if more people spoke to each other
And we're afraid of the consequence of that. Well, not the conflict, the consequence of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Because people don't want to talk about it because they are afraid the person's going to get mad or they're going to be hurt.
Yeah.
But you don't know unless you try and have that conversation. It may be difficult. It could be hurtful, but you have to have that. It's like with friendship, with relationships, with people you work with at your job. I mean, instead of being passive aggressive, you have all, and what happens is you have all these thoughts in your head, and then that affects how you interact with that person.
Yeah.
But if you were to maybe talk to them about it, you may have a different viewpoint and not have that animosity or whatever it is that you have, because that communication is there. And the other person could be feeling the same way you do.
Yeah, you just don't know.
And you have no idea until you talk to them. But most people would rather avoid the hard conversations.
Yes.
Than to have them. And I'm different in that way, that I want the hard conversation.
Yeah, you do.
And you're like
I run from.
You're like a roly poly.
I want nothing.
Or that turtle. You're like a turtle.
I want nothing to do with the conversation.
Yeah, right.
I just want to avoid it, and then hopefully it goes away. But as I get older and older and mature, I guess I should be mature by now, but you know what I mean. As I get
with age comes
older
wisdom.
And wiser, I mean, I realize you can't. That's not the way to operate in life. You can't just run away all the time, because eventually something's going to catch up with you where you can't run away, and you got to face it.
Yes.
And either you face it or you're going to struggle forever. I mean, even at my job, I think at any job, really, not just mine, but if people would communicate, I was telling a coworker, if people would just communicate more, just stop being afraid. And that's a thing that happens at workplaces, anywhere, really.
Well, it's anywhere there are people.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere
it's a people thing.
And then what happens is somebody's getting in trouble for something because somebody assumed something, somebody heard something, somebody didn't tell the person they were hurt. I'm like, and I keep telling people, I'm like, we're not kids, but I think adults are just big kids.
Yeah, and we're not taught to communicate either.
Adults don't change. Adults are big kids. When you see kids acting for stupid stuff on the playground at school with each other, adults do the exact. Well, I started looking back to that. I'm like, oh my God, they're acting like school children. It was weird, but they're just adults acting just like kids. They never learn how to communicate.
Right.
They kind of bully other adults.
Yeah.
They form groups.
And, it takes a lot of self-reflection and understanding, and then most of us don't ever deep dive into ourselves. And,
yes.
And that's where I like that. Like
deep dive.
My thing is always therapy, because it makes you start to think. You begin to it makes you question more things. Like I just met with like a life coach for the first time, and like everything I would answer.
Can we announce her on the show? Because
let's talk to Rita. She's going to be back on the show.
Rita we got to do some advertisements and stuff like that to get her on there.
Well, we have to get. I'll talk to her. But anyway, so I talked to her life coach.
Thank you, Rita.
And so she was like, "Oh, how are you?" Or she'd say a question. I'd be like, "Oh, it's fine." And then she's like, "Okay, well, how?" She would always have this more probing. She wants like a deeper answer.
Of course.
Because of course, most of us are used to surface level talking. Most of us don't have deep conversations with anyone. So, it was like, oh God, and I got to go actually like tell her my feelings. I know my feelings, but I just don't want to share them.
Most people I realized don't like to go there. I found this out during my...
Well, you don't either. I mean, this is part of what we're talking about today.
I know I don't, but I found this out firsthand during my seminary class. During this fall semester, that even people in seminary and the church, the ministry, have deep-rooted problems. Actually,
of course, because it's people.
But actually, it's worse for them because they're a model, they're a leader, right? So now imagine you're a leader and you have these deep-rooted problems and you're still trying to lead other people.
Well, that's a whole other show.
I know. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just saying.
But that's one of those things where we as people look up too much to other people.
Yes.
And it's not that you can't look up to them, but you have to still remember their shit stinks too.
Yes.
And they make mistakes. I mean, we just have no grace for people in our society.
They're just like everybody else.
Yeah, and they're going to make mistakes.
Then the people standing up feel guilty for making mistakes. They're like, but
they're people. That's the thing. People forget.
Yeah, they're not robots.
All of us are human beings. All of us will make mistakes. And that's one of the things I've realized a lot in life lately is that we don't give each other grace. I mean, whether it's at work, whether it's our friends, whether our kids, we don't always give a lot of grace. And people need grace. People need to know that it's okay. You made a mistake. It's okay as long as you're willing to own up to that mistake and try not to make it again. But now if you're making the same mistake over and over again, now that's just deliberate. But if you're making a mistake and you made a mistake once and it wasn't intentional, or it wasn't, well, not that it wasn't intentional, but you made the mistake, but you've learned from it, then give people a break. But people don't like to forgive and they want to judge, and it just makes for a horrible place. Like, it's just,
I agree.
We're all human.
But it's very frustrating. It's super frustrating when you hear that and I don't know, man. As I get older, I realize people just don't communicate enough, and it's very frustrating.
Yes.
I'm seeing it firsthand, and it's tough because you when you're a communicator, and I've told everybody this I've come in contact with, if you have a problem, let's just talk about it. We're not going to kill each other. And I realize now, looking back on my professional career, I think if I would have done that more, communicated more instead of just reacting.
Yes.
Even though I had all right to react.
Wait, hold on. Let's picture it now. And Ian,
what?
There's a turtle, and that turtle's out. He's happy. He's enjoying the fresh air. And then as soon as he sees someone come up, he pops into the shell. That's Ian. That is you whenever a confrontation or what you feel is a confrontation is coming. Even though the turtle sees the person coming, and that person could just mean to just look at that turtle and like, oh, look. But he sees that fear, like, oh my God, I got to do this. And he pops in. So whenever I think about that, I picture you when I think about not wanting to communicate you as a turtle.
But it's true. I think even looking back at my career, I think even though I was right to be angry of what happened, I think if I would have just taken back or had someone talk to me and taken a different perspective on the whole situation and tried to work it out and communicate more, I think I would have got more out of it. You know what I mean? But I was just so angry at the time. I reacted to the first feeling I had.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm getting out of the situation. But I never actually solved the problem. I just went away from it.
Right. You didn't deal with it. You just avoided it. Just went somewhere else to deal with it.
I just went somewhere else not to deal with it. And that's not, it
doesn't
now,
truly solve it.
Yeah. Now that I'm older, a little bit older, and had more time to think about it and look back at it, I'm like, man, you know what? I probably could have reacted a little differently. Even though I had all right and I was justified to react in anger like I did by what was done to me, I think I still could have made it work. Just more communication, open communication. Even though the individuals involved were assholes, I still could have made it work.
Right.
Knowing what I know now, I could have made it work, but you just learn.
So knowing what you know now, and after our conversation last week and your time to self-reflect, what are, as far as the strike and you conceding and now our life back to normal, what is different? That's why I kept asking you last week and you just would never answer. What is going to be different? You kind of was like, well, I'm just going to help more. But that's not specific enough as to, because I mean, for me, I'm going to be straight up with you, straight honest right here. If things don't consistently change for the better,
yes,
right? Then I begin to question more and more of why am I do what I do.
Oh, so yes.
Right.
What does that mean? What do you mean what you do? Say that.
Well, why do I stay in this marriage if things stay the same?
I thought that's what.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be nice about it.
No, don't be nice about it. Just say divorce. Just say it.
I mean, it's like why?
Just say it.
Because I mean, like
that's what everybody else is thinking.
It's like love only takes you but so far. Right. And I can love you even if we ever one day split up.
Yes.
I can always love you, but it doesn't mean I can live with you. Right.
Oh, man. That's what's going there.
So because for me, after this whole experience and my self-reflection and growing and changing as a person.
Hey, everybody, don't be surprised if we get divorced and still do the show.
Oh my gosh, shut up.
Friends,
we're not getting divorced, Ian.
I'm just letting you know.
Unless you got some plan that I don't know
Natalie's
about.
giving you this Natalie's giving you a preempt.
I'm just telling you the truth. And I've always told you this. I try my best to
oh, here it comes.
To deal with everything, but it's exhausting doing everything. Right?
If we were to get divorced, what would you do? If we just,
I go live my life. I just go by myself.
The first thing I'd do is I wouldn't leave until the kids were 18 and going off to college. Then I'd leave. Then I'd just move away and go to another. I would leave.
You would wait for 7 years because the youngest is 11.
Yeah, I'd wait for him to go off because it's fair.
You would pretend for 7 years. No, I wouldn't want to pretend for 7 years.
No. I would leave and stay around and help him do his stuff and be in his life here until he goes off to college, and then I'll move away to another state because it doesn't make sense to be divorced and not being in the kid's life. That's
sure.
That's not going to be something positive for the kids. But you can still be divorced and involved and do everything. And when that kid turns 18 and go off to college, I am moving out west and far away from this place as far as I can go. I'm gone. But back to what I think I need to work on. I need to work on being consistent in what I do in the house. Take on more of a role in leadership role. Be more of a father. as best I can. I'm putting.
You're a good dad. You're a pretty good dad.
I think I can be a better dad. That's what I was telling one of my colleagues the other day. I said this pandemic has made me realize that I didn't realize how little time I was spending with my kids overall. I didn't.
Oh, I know that. That's what we're going to have an episode about that.
Until I look back and I'm like, damn, I haven't been spending no time with the kids. Samuel's been, so that's why I told on the last episode, that's why I sit with Samuel and watch The Mandalorian and all this stuff on TV is just time with him. And then Noah also is, even though Noah's going to be a teenager now, he won't say it, but he's like, Daddy, can you do this with me? For him, that's a huge deal for him to try to ask to do stuff with me, So I realized, damn, the kids were asking for my time. So that's why I've struggled this semester. Thank God school's almost done, but I've dropped a lot of time for seminary and spent with them. That's why I've struggled so much and frustrated because I have no time to work on seminary work, but I can't replace seminary with the kids. You know what I mean? I can't put that as priority over the time with the kids and you. Right.
Because those kids, once they grow up, they grow up.
Yeah,
but we can't get that time
That's
back.
why this semester has been very frustrating because I pushed off a lot of the seminary work till late at night and I had no sleep. So it does get frustrating after a while because something has to give when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Something has to give. But thank God I'm almost done. After this semester, I have one class left.
Oh, that's good. Well, see, there you go.
So, I do have to make some change. But it's just, I think this, I don't know if I'd ever do this again in my life. If I had an opportunity to go through seminary like this again, I don't think I could do it while working. I think it's one or the other. It's too hard.
Well, it's not that hard because you did it, right? It's accomplishable.
I did it, but I lost a lot, man. I'm telling you, marriage suffered along the way. All these things happened because I was in class trying to concentrate on this stuff, and I'm like, but then as I started reading a lot about the Bible and all that's involved, it's a lot less this life is a lot more complicated. We don't have to make it complicated. I think we make it complicated by
we try to do too much. We try to have too much.
Yeah, spending time trying to gain things and do things instead of just reflecting with God a little bit. And then trying to reflect with God every day now is I'm trying to do it more. I'm getting there, but it's harder than I thought. That's what I was talking to Pastor Jim. I'm like, this is much harder than I thought, but I'm heading that direction to try to change more.
So are you going to be more, like for me, I feel like you get so in your head about what you have to do that you just forget everything else.
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem is it's everything. And I'm trying to figure out what to do. I don't purposely ignore you and my obligations as a dad and stuff. I'm just sitting there figuring like you do, like when you have a million stuff in your head, your crap just falls apart. I can't work like that. I have to think about what I'm doing and what I'm going to do first, second, and third. That's just how my mind works. And that's how I go through stuff. I just don't, I'm not a chaotic person. I can't work that way. I have to sit back and think. That's why I don't like being late for meetings. You already know that. I like having stuff structured. I like being on time. I like turning things on time. I like getting things done. So I have to kind of have those in place. So for me, I'm always thinking about how to do it. Seminary is a big part of this, and this is almost done now. And I think I'm going to have more time to do it, but I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know, because to me, it's like even the last few days, once you kind of said you were off, you conceded, you just kind of disappeared.
I did. Because I didn't want to do nothing anymore.
I come home.
I didn't want to do nothing.
But that's the problem.
I didn't want to do a damn thing.
That's the problem. Like it's not even to say that you have to do it, but you don't even say to me, "Hey, Natalie, what are we doing for dinner?" Or do you want me to do this? Or
I did
you don't even acknowledge.
Well, I did it for a little bit when
you like it just disappeared. Like the kids don't need food.
Natalie, you ain't got to remind me. I know exactly what I did. You ain't got to remind me. I know.
Well, I didn't know if it was conscious or what.
It was very conscious. I just didn't want to do it. Can I just say that?
I was just like, this fool, like this straight disappeared. Like, yeah, the kids looking like, where's dinner? Yes, and I'm like, I don't know. Your dad ain't say nothing.
I just didn't want to do anything. I just didn't want to do it.
Right, but even if you didn't want to do it, you didn't even communicate with me.
I was like, I hate this.
Can you do this?
Because I don't want to bother you, and then you get pissed off.
But I'm going to be pissed off because when I got to come cook out of the middle of nowhere.
You complain every day about
just like yesterday. We went out.
Food yesterday.
We went out.
Cook.
All you wanted to do was get damn Jeremiah's ice cream, right?
Why you got to bring Jeremiah's?
No, because that's all you think about. You and Noah went out. Me and Samuel went out to get his shoes. And then I'm like, oh, let me pick up for dinner. You didn't even think about dinner. You just thought
Actually,
we went out.
Actually, I thought about dinner and I wasn't going to make it because I was like, I'm just going to go to bed hungry. That's horrible.
but what about your children?
I know. I'm not claiming to be perfect.
So this is the stuff that drives me crazy. Like, just like that. Just communicate. If you had just said, hey, Natalie.
I'm trying to be better.
If you had called me or texted me and said, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do for dinner? Well, and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to pick up a chicken.
What are we going to do for dinner tonight? Can I ask
Or we're going to eat
now?
out at the place. Or the place.
Where we're going today?
Yeah, they got food there. I'm just going to buy food. I ain't going to deal with all that.
What kind of food is that?
I don't know. They
like
just
hot dogs and stuff?
They have like different vendors who have set up stands and have food.
You know what? I'm going to bring my pill because I don't trust them.
Well, yes. But anyway, you always digress. So.
Sorry. Let's get this done.
I forgot what you even estimated.
Good. Let's go close it up.
No, but what? Okay, so I'll close it up when you. I guess I don't know if I'm ever going to get what I need from you.
I don't know what you want. I just told you what I would do. What do you want me to say? I don't understand.
I want you to be like, to recognize the areas where you need to like step up.
I just told you that. I just told you what I had to do.
You just said you're going to do more.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you want from me, man? I mean,
I tried to ask you because what happens is if we don't have a real plan of action of how we're going to handle life after the strike, then it's just going to go back to what it was.
It's not.
And it happened. It's already happened.
Actually, it's already happening.
Exactly.
But I can't allow it to happen because you're working now and you're...
Right, but you are allowing it to happen because I had to cook without...
You know what it is? I would rather cook and not hear your mouth. I would cook every single day for the rest of my life not to hear you yell at me again. I'm not even... But
why do you mean I yell? If I say anything to you, I'm yelling at you.
I would rather do it.
You're so sensitive.
Dude, I would rather do it just to do it. I would rather do things just not to hear you yell.
But it's not even yelling. You sound like Noah. If I say something to you, I'm yelling at you.
Well, Noah must get it from me. I'd rather do that just so I don't hear nothing. I just can't stand it. I would. That's why I do stuff. I don't do stuff because I want to. I don't do anything. I do it because I don't want to be annoyed.
Well, I don't do anything because I want to. I do it because I'm responsible for it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I hate to cook. I can't stand cooking. Like, I cook food, I don't even taste it. I give it to y'all to eat it. I don't even know what it tastes like because I hate cooking.
You know what? You're the best mother wife I ever been married to because I think a lot of moms...
You ain't been married to nobody else.
I know. But I'm saying a lot of moms I talk to, do they like to cook too? Or are they...
Most moms don't like to cook.
Really?
We get tired of having to think about what to cook. We get tired of having...
Why don't all the moms out there just go on strike right now and see what your husbands do?
Everyone's going to get fat from takeout. That's what's going to happen.
Man, all those husbands, Ian, shut your damn mouth. You talk too much. Well, I don't know what you want me to say, man. I told you what I was going to do. I'm trying to figure out what do you want me to say. I'm
going to tell you what I
what do you want?
That's what I'm going to do.
Say it.
I was hoping to get it. I was hoping to get it from you because you had a realization of really and a grasp of really all the things that I do.
Now tell me.
But you don't. I realize you really don't.
Go ahead and tell me what you want me to say because I guess we're not on the same page here.
What I want.
Go ahead.
What I'm asking from you from this strike, what I need to get out of this strike is that you will be a 50-50 partner in life that I don't have to think for both of us. Life is that you're going to think, you will think for the family as well as I will think for the family. So like yesterday, when we both went out, you would have thought, hey, let me text Natalie and see what are our plans for dinner, right? I want those thoughts to be in your head. The thoughts of taking care of the family. That's what I want.
You want me to be somebody else I'm not.
Well, you put a reminder in your damn phone. Talk to Natalie about what's for dinner.
I know what you want. You have this.
I don't want you to be who you're not, but I just need a partner in life.
I might not be that partner. That's what I'm saying. We're going to be headed for divorce, but listen, I'm not lying to you, man. I'm telling you the truth. I say I'm going to try to do these things like I've always done. And I'm going to try to do the best I can. If you don't like it, then that's the way it is.
I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for a partner in life.
You've been looking for this partner for a long time.
I have. And I've been very patient.
And I've
been patient with you for 17 years.
It's not.
But you have evolved.
I have.
You have evolved. Well, that's my point. So I don't just give up on you while you're evolving. I'm giving you the opportunity to evolve. But if there comes a point where you just go back to I'm doing whatever I want to do and whatever to everybody else, well, then that's a problem. But
you're never going to divorce
because you're attempting, you're making an attempt to improve us. I mean, that's like me when I used to talk to you a certain way, you didn't like it.
Like now,
I had to make an attempt to improve. because you weren't, I'm not being respected around here, all that kind of stuff. You don't have any respect for me.
You're making fun of me right now.
Well, because it was just like, oh my God. We talked about that in the episode about respect, because men, respect is huge with men. Huge.
I take that back. I don't care about that anymore. So I take that back. Yeah.
So wait, well, hold on. We need to wrap up. But why don't you care about it?
I think marriage is more about a two-way street. Respect and all that crap. That is men being macho and dumb. It really is.
Well,
insecure.
Yes, but it's important to a lot of men, that respect factor. You as well. It was important to you for a long time.
But I was just being a little bitch at the time. I'm telling you, the truth is, I just wanted what I wanted because I was selfish. Okay, I'm being real now.
Oh, I know you selfish.
What I want, you ain't got to emphasize it, damn it. But I'm just telling you how I was. Now I look back, I'm like, man, I was being a real bitch about who I was. I just don't want to do anything at times, and that's just me. Me in general. I know you don't like that, but sometimes I just don't want to do anything. Doesn't mean
I'm like that too, but it's okay.
It doesn't mean that I don't ever want to do anything. It's just that at the time for a little stint there, I might just be stressed. Usually it's just, sometimes I just want to stop it all.
Like, I want that all the time. That's the thing. I want the same things. I go through the same thing you do.
I want to stop going to work. I want to stop seminary. I just want to stop and just go crawl away.
Yeah, you just want to hide under a rock. And life just doesn't bother you.
A sabbatical. That's what it is. Like a long sabbatical away from life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even though I'm on a sabbatical, I'll still get paid and my bills will get paid. You know what I mean? Just
you want all the craziness of life to stop.
And then the quietness of wherever I'm at, just be there for a while, collect my thoughts, and then find myself and then go back.
Yeah, I agree.
I've never had a chance to do that ever. And I think most people listening now have never done anything like that. And I think you're just, every day you're doing something, it adds on to the pile. Adds on. It's just more stress. You're trying to figure out who you are. And people never get to figure out who they are until later on, way later on in life, when your kids are grown, maybe after 1 or 2 divorces.
Yeah.
And then people are like, you know what? This is who I am. People don't figure out themselves till later on in life. Okay. And I think that's what I'm kind of figuring. I know who I am. I don't have the time and the space with all the kids and everything, to work it out now. So that's why I'm having conflict.
Right. And I mean, what you've expressed is something that I've gone through, and women, men, everybody, I think, goes through that.
Yes.
And when I don't want to do it, I just still do. Oh, there was this thing. Hold on real quick. There was this write-up, and it was about washing the dishes 3 times.
3 times in a row?
But this is the whole premise, right? I'm gonna kind of close it. This is the premise.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
This is the premise.
Like 20 minutes longer than
so the premise is life. Sometimes you just can't do life. Sometimes you're just fed up with life. You're depressed. You're sad. You're down, and the dishes got to get done, right? This is like a metaphor, and so you don't want to bother with the dishes, and you put them in, and the person, it was like a little article. So the person basically said, well, what's bothering me is dishes. Like, they went to a therapist, and the therapist said, what's wrong? And they were like, the dishes are what's wrong. It's stupid, but it's the dishes. And the person said, the dishes, I wish I could remember the name of the person who, it's a post on Facebook, but the person basically said, the dishes are what's bothering me. And they're like, okay, what about it? They're like, well, when I wash them, they don't always wash clean. And I don't want to wash them by hand because I don't have the energy and time to do that. And they're like, okay, wash them 3 times. And they're like, well, what do you mean wash them 3 times? Well, if they're dirty and you just want to get them washed, and you're in the mind space where you just can't do something, then just wash them more than once. Like, who said that's the rule, that you have to wash them and by hand first a little bit and then put them in you do what works for you where you are.
Interesting.
Right?
That was an article?
So, yeah, it was not an article. It was like a little write-up. It was about like a therapist or something. And then it goes even further than that. And the person's like, sometimes I feel like I can't even, like shower or whatever. And the person ended up laying down in the shower, right? They want to get clean, but they don't have the energy to stand up.
You just want to do what you want to do at the time. You don't want
you need to survive, right?
Yes,
you just survive that moment, because the person was basically depressed. And so they, washed the dishes 3 times, and then they decided to lay in the shower because they didn't have the energy to stand up.
Yes.
And they did those things, coping things just to get through until they got to a point in life that they can handle those tasks again. It's giving yourself grace, right? It's like the other day we needed dinner, and I was like, I'm tired. I ain't cooking nothing up in this piece. So I had to call and order food. But I realized at that moment, I could either stress myself out doing what I think, quote unquote, I'm supposed to do as a mom and make a whole meal for the kids, or I could just order some darn food and everybody's eating, right? Either way, the goal is met. but one's less stressful on me in that moment that I didn't have the energy to do it than the other.
Oh,
so
that's
and that's a little bit off topic story, but it was really good.
No, that's very powerful though. I never thought about it like that. Those coping, I think people are having problems with coping just in general. I mean, coping is tough.
Right. So when you feel a certain way though, like, don't feel obligated that you have to do everything exactly. Like, it's just like we think we have to eat a bagel and egg for breakfast because the egg is a breakfast food, right? Yeah. But if all you got in your fridge is chicken and rice and you're hungry and it's 8:30, eat the damn chicken and rice. You don't have to have an egg and a bagel or
that is a good point.
Or cereal for breakfast.
People are programmed to think a certain way, but it's not true. You could do, as long as you're following life in general and you're not killing anybody.
Right, as long as you ain't hurting anybody else, right? You do what you got to do.
You can eat whatever the hell you want for breakfast.
Right, but we put ourselves in these boxes.
That's a damn good point. I never thought about that.
We make ourselves, we conform to these little things that we think we're supposed to do. But what you do is you do what you can do while you're coping until you can, especially if you're feeling depressed, until you can get out of that.
Yeah,
right? So,
I understand. That's a pretty powerful point. Never even thought about that.
Yeah, I got to find that thing. I got to give credit to the person who...
We could do a whole show on that. Damn.
I think there was a post. I have to look and give credit to the person. I can't remember who it was. I wasn't planning on talking about it. Just came in my head.
This was supposed to be a 20-minute show, and we're 43 minutes in, and I forgot to give my break to Kennedy during the middle, so we'll have to do it.
There's a break. You was coughing somewhere.
I'll make that the break when I cough.
But anyway, but thanks, Ian. I'm happy that you were willing to open up a little more about how you were feeling and how I made you feel and how, you reflected. Because that's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep it short, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to look at yourself, no matter who you are and who you are in a relationship with. You have to look at yourself. No matter what you think they do to you, you also play a role in that. And being able to look at yourself and say, hey, what is my role in this situation? What have I done to contribute to this? And what can I change and do better? Is important. And that will help the longevity and the vitality of your relationship if you can self-reflect, because we always want to blame the other person. But in reality, we both play a part.
Well said. I'll give you that one.
So extra. And I just want to give a disclaimer because I think Ian and I are not getting a divorce.
No, listen, this is how
I don't want you making, because people are going to be listening to this and thinking, gosh, they're on the verge of divorce. Ian and I get along very well.
It might get us more listeners know if they believe that.
But Ian and I get along very well, and we work through our stuff.
We're learning.
And we're okay.
Both of us are learning to this marriage and how to grow into it. That's all it is. I mean, It's not, we're going to always, and Natalie and I are very different people, but we're also the same in a lot of ways. We have the same
values, but we have different personalities and different things.
But I think we wouldn't change anything. Our personalities is what makes us work. So I have to admit, I like your punk ass.
I like you too. All right, you can wrap it up now.
All right, so thanks for listening, everybody. And you can listen to the podcast. What is that?
It's the baby chair. I'm sorry, I hit the baby chair.
You can listen to the podcast on all the streaming platforms at Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, CastBox. I know we have like 2 or 3 more, but I can't remember any of them.
Anywhere you want to find a podcast, you'll find us.
The Family Mess Facebook page is
the Family Mess Podcast.
Twitter at the family_mess. Also Instagram, the Family Mess on Instagram. So please listen, subscribe, and like.
And tell your friends. Thank you.
Talk to you guys later. God bless.
You got it.